Let's talk about something we all know, maybe a little too well. That mental movie that just keeps playing on a loop long after the moment has passed. We're going to get into what I call the replaying mind and really understand why we get so stuck thinking about the past. So, this is the big one, right? Why does this happen? You could be driving or trying to fall asleep, and suddenly your brain just hits play on a conversation from last week or, 10 years ago. What is going on there?
A lot of the time, it starts right here with something you said. You get stuck on that one phrase, that one word, and you just keep picking it apart, cringing a little and wondering how it landed. The sound of your own words can be incredibly loud in your head.
And of course, there's the flip side of that, all the things you didn't say. The perfect comeback that you thought of hours later, or the thing you really wished you'd said to support someone. That space can be just as noisy, filled with all these little ghosts of missed chances.
And it's not just about words, is it? It's that awkward moment, that meeting that went sideways, that decision you still kind of question. It's that deep human wish for a do-over just playing out again and again in our minds. And if any of this feels familiar, you are in very, very good company.
Seriously, let's just pause on this for a second. This is not some personal flaw. It is not a sign that you're broken. This whole mental replay thing, it's a really fundamental and deeply human pattern. And it has a habit of showing up at very particular times, doesn't it? The quiet of the night, that's the classic. But maybe you've also noticed it gets a lot louder when life just feels a bit shaky or uncertain. And there's a really important reason for that. So let's call it the replaying mind. And here is probably the most important idea we're going to talk about today. This isn't just overthinking. It's not a bug in your system. It's a feature. Your brain is actively and with really good intentions searching for safety.
You can think of your mind like a really diligent, but kind of anxious office manager. It just hates open tabs and unresolved issues. So when a conversation or an event feels unfinished or confusing or maybe even a little threatening, it gets flagged for review. That replay loop, that's the review.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because there's this huge gap between how this feels to us and what its purpose actually is. To us, it feels like, oh, I failed, or I'm so stuck, but our brain's intention is totally different. It's not saying you failed. It's saying, hey, let's look at this so I can protect you next time. It's not trying to keep you stuck. It's desperately trying to find some control for the future. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Let that sink in. This whole process, it's not meant to be a punishment. It's an ancient survival tool designed for preparation. The only problem is, in our world today, the off switch is a little faulty. It just keeps preparing and preparing and preparing. Okay, so let's tackle the million-dollar question. You've had a busy day, you've managed to keep those thoughts away, but the second your head hits the pillow, the show begins. Why does it get so much worse at night? Well, the answer is actually beautifully simple. All day long, your brain is juggling 1,000 things. Emails, traffic, what's for dinner, all of it. It's totally occupied. But at night, all of that external noise just fades away. The distractions are gone. So here's a really reassuring way to think about this. Those thoughts that feel so huge and urgent at 2 in the morning, they aren't necessarily more important. They're just the ones that have been waiting patiently in line all day. And now that the stage is clear, it's finally their turn. Their volume does not equal their validity. So, understanding the why is a huge first step. But then, what do we actually do about it? In this next part, we're going to shift from understanding the replay to actually finding a release. And here is the absolute key. Trying to fight the thought, it just doesn't work. Telling your brain don't think about that pink elephant only makes it think about a pink elephant. So the goal isn't to stop the river, it's to help guide it to the ocean. We're going to work with our brain's deep need for an ending. And the good news is, this isn't some complicated program. It's really just 2 simple, gentle steps. First, we're going to get curious and ask the right question. And second, we're going to give our brain what it's been looking for this whole time, a final version of the story. This question is the key that unlocks the whole thing. The next time that replay starts, just gently pause and ask yourself this. Not, why am I like this, but what is my brain trying to protect me from next time? So if you're replaying an awkward comment, maybe your brain is trying to protect you from the feeling of rejection. You see how that shifts things? You move from being a critic to being a compassionate partner to your own mind. So once you understand that protective instinct, you can finally give your brain the closure it's craving. You can do this by writing it down or even just thinking it through. You're going to consciously write an ending to that loop. And this part is so, so important. The final version is not a story where you go back in time and say the perfect witty thing. No, it's a story that sounds more like this. Okay, I felt awkward then, and my brain is just trying to make sure I don't feel that way again. I get it. I learned something, and I forgive myself for being human. That's it. That's a complete story. It's about grace, not perfection.
All right, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with one last thought to hold on to, something to remember the next time that replay feels like it's taking over. Please try to let go of any story that says this is a weakness or some kind of character flaw. It has nothing to do with how strong you are or how worthy you are. It's just a biological process.
At the very heart of it, every single one of those replays, no matter how much they might sting, is coming from a place of care. It's your brain's clumsy, overactive, but deeply well-intentioned attempt to be your protector and your strategist. And knowing that, it changes everything, doesn't it? The goal isn't to fight a war with your own mind. The goal is to turn toward it with a little kindness, listen to what it's worried about, and then gently reassure it that you're okay, that you learned the lesson and it's safe to let go now. Thanks for being here with me today.